Hello, hello, hello. It's Nicholas Rosinski here, trying to do 3 apparently impossible things before tea time with week 9 of our 13-week tour of the frontiers of therapy and spirituality. And because some of the immediately present impossibility has to do with distance and time, let's get straight to our journey for today. So, as I said last time, this week I'm going to look at the awakening of matter from a spiritual perspective, in particular its relationship with human awakening, finally explaining what I mean by SAT Stage 5, and then going further into the collective and cosmic dimensions of the awakening of an individual human being. Now, SAT, of course, is Richard Harvey's Sacred Attention Therapy, and it's the centerpiece of this tour. So to find out more about SAT, please visit www.centerforhumanawakening.com or check out the Center's YouTube channel, which you can get to by clicking on the Center for Human Awakening text just below this video. Now, this slide contains rather a lot. I usually take about 20 minutes to go over it, so obviously I'm not going to be able to cover all of its detail today. Because there's so much to cover, even in overview, I'm going to assume some basic familiarity with the 3 stages of SAT, which I briefly outlined in weeks 1 and 4, and also with SAT C++, the new flavor or instance of SAT that I introduced in week 4. Now, if you'd like to go back and see those earlier episodes, they're all available on the Center's YouTube channel again, available down here. So that's it. Let's get going. So starting at the individual level, this red guy is a statistically typical human in today's world, divided from our own deeper self. Now, this second, later version loosely depicts a SAT stage 2 or stage 3 realization, where we could say, loosely again, that the deeper self now lives freely in the heart. Next is SAT stage 4, where loosely again, the deeper self or divine person comes forward and shines into the world for those with eyes to see. For more about stage 4, please see Richard Harvey's article, The Flourishing of a Human Life, which I've linked to in the comments below this video. Now, notice that in each of these steps, if you look closely, there's a black outline matter body involved. And in a SAT C++ context, what I mean by a matter body is some, even infinitesimal, entanglement of the physical form with the guilt and fear of the alleged separation or imagined fall. So now finally here, that entanglement has been completely dispelled. There's no black outline matter body, but there's still a form, an appearance. This is what I call SAT stage 5. So the significance of the awakening of matter viewpoint for the spectrum of individual psychospiritual development is that it identifies matter entanglement as the last obstacle to the full realization of the divine person in the stage 4 to stage 5 transition. Put differently, the divine person can't fully descend, so to speak, in stage 4 because matter is an obstacle to that descent as long as it is unawakened. Moving to a collective viewpoint, now consider a group. Here there's a red stage 1 being, a heart open stage 2 being, or stage 3, and another kind of configuration that I'm going to gloss over here. For now, we could think of this one as a placeholder for paths and configurations that these 2 symbolic configurations or depictions don't capture. Now, the key thing that I've added in here is this black oval, which represents collective societal dynamics. So the red figure here both contributes to collective dynamics and is influenced by them, as is also the case for the other figures. Here I emphasize this red arrow as the aspect of societal dynamics that's keeping this one in a stage 1 configuration. Now, as the non-red figures progress in healing and transformation, societal pressure on the red one gets less intense. This arrow is now black, not red. And when the others have all achieved a stage 5 realization, say, the societal influence is now solely transformational, as shown by the blue arrow. And this person, perhaps the last human to awakening, needs this context to step through the door and join the others in a stage 5 reality. So the significance of the awakening of matter viewpoint for collective psychospiritual development is that it emphasizes societal pressures on the individual, which isn't all that new really, and provides reality-aligned alternatives for the societal institutions involved, which in the details of these alternatives are new. One notable example is the transition from Science 2, which teaches children a spiritless reality theory, to Science 5, which can accommodate the regularities of conventional matter and a fundamentally spirit-oriented context. And I'll talk more about Science 5 next time. So finally, to the cosmic dimension. In the simplest version of SAT-C++, there's just one soul who is involved in the original alleged separation or imagined fall. One way to think of that soul is as in a coma, buried under the entire matter weight of the universe. So now we roll forward 13 billion years, and here we have human collective activity on Earth again. And I've added in here a relationship between that collective activity, again in this oval, and the emotional energetic dimension of matter itself, depicted as this fiery rectangle here. Again, there's two-way interplay. And again, as human activity changes, the quality or character of that interplay changes. So perhaps the most fundamental suggestion of SAT-C++'s awakening of matter is that the last to awaken may not be an allegedly incarnate human, but this soul who's imagined itself into a 13 billion year coma. Now the suggestion is that active human participation in the awakening of matter is required to finally open the doorway for this soul to join fully awakened humanity in the stage 5 restoration of the entire universe to real reality. Phew. So next week, another impossible quest, a reasonably complete illustration of the awakening of matter from a scientific viewpoint, again in less than 10 minutes. I'm Nicholas. Thanks for watching. See you next time.